Hi, I'm Lindsay Evans. I'm a garden designer. When I'm not designing gardens, you'll find me out on my allotment, tending to my flowers and vegetables. The type of green bean that I like to grow is the climbing French bean. They're prolific, they're easy to grow, and you can plant them directly into the ground, or I prefer to start them off in pots. I plant each seed into a 3-inch pot filled with compost. Then I put a little bit of perlite over the top. Perlite is actually really good for drainage in pots, but it's very good also to spread over the surface as it stops the soil drying out. To support the beans when they're growing, I create a teepee out of bamboo canes. I use 8 canes, space them well apart, and then join them together at the top with a little bit of garden twine. I plant 1 bean plant on either side of each of the cane and then tie them in so that they can grow up to the top of the teepee. Before they get to the top of the teepee, I nip out the buds so that they can carry on producing beans rather than actually just putting on leafy growth. Beans prefer to be grown in full sun, but they will take some shade. You'll get less beans, but you will be able to grow them in the shade. Beans don't need any extra nitrogen, as they have a very specific way of fixing nitrogen and getting it out of the soil themselves. Hoe very carefully around the plants. They're quite shallow rooted, so don't disturb them, and maybe even do a little bit of hand weeding, but keep the weeds down. They need a lot of water while they're growing, but try to avoid spraying the water directly onto the plant's leaves. The beans should be ready to harvest about 60 to 90 days after you first planted them. Harvest the beans before you see a bulge in the pod. The beans should be crisp and snap when you break them. Pick the beans regularly and they'll keep producing more beans. Rotate your bean crop at least every 3 years and preferably annually. And those are some simple tips on how to grow great beans.